Let's go back into the document here because they're now asking about other clients he had in 2017 and 2018. He says 5. What kind of work? Hoffinger asks. Consulting, Cohen said. How much total did you earn from those clients? Cohen, approximately $4 million. Hoffinger, you also joined and worked for Squire Patton Boggs, contacted by managing partner at the firm, interested in having me on their letterhead. So they deal with this other type of work that he did. He said he made $500,000 from that type of work. And then she asked, did you also have an office there? He said he had 2 offices, one in Manhattan and one in D.C. But now she's asking more specific to Donald Trump. Did you continue to try to protect him? Cohen says, yes, ma'am. Hoffinger, did you continue to lie for him? Cohen, yes. Hoffinger, why did you do that? Cohen, out of loyalty and in order to protect him. Hoffinger, and at the time, he was president. Is that right? Cohen, yes. Hoffinger, and had he already announced that he was going to be running again in 2020? Cohen, he had stated that. Adam, what do you think that Hoffinger's trying to prove here?
He's trying to prove, they're trying to prove that he was loyal, that he had a motive. The motive was at the time aligned with Trump. Later, he becomes vengeful. This will all come out on cross-examination. But they're trying to show that he was aligned with Trump at the time, and he was executing and continuing to follow his work, his bidding, and follow out his plan to silence and continue to silence this Stormy Daniels.
Well, and also what I keep thinking about here is he's saying I was making millions off of these other clients in terms of the legal work I was providing as a consultant. And here Trump is paying him, pennies, relatively speaking, compared to these other clients. But he felt this personal connection to Trump, Jessica.
Well, he had been working for Trump for a long time. And in a sense, his whole brand was being affiliated with Trump and being Trump's personal attorney. And so even beyond the fees he earned directly from Trump when Trump paid him, I think he was able to sell that access to Trump to other clients as well. So there's a sense in which being affiliated with Trump and loyal to Trump served him beyond just whatever money he was paid directly by Trump.
And so, Danny, talk about the need by the prosecution to inoculate, I guess, Cohen to what is coming. Here is a part that right now in the courtroom, Hoffinger is asking Cohen about. Quote, the spring and fall of 2017, while you were still personal counsel to President Trump, did the House and Senate Intelligence Committee ask you to testify about the Russia investigation? Cohen, they did. Hoffinger, subpoenaed for testimony? Yes. It was about the Trump Tower Moscow deal. Was there pressure at the time? Cohen, a tremendous amount of pressure. Hoffinger, did you have an attorney representing you? I did, Cohen says. Trump Organization was paying for it. It was part of a joint defense agreement, which is when the employer and the people working together for a common goal. Trump Organization paid for the attorney. It was very much important. Trump Organization was paying for that attorney. How did you feel about the power of the president behind you? Cohen, I needed it. I thought it was very important. Hoffinger, did you lie? Cohen, I did. Again, this is preparing for what the defense is going to go after.
They have to own it. I mean, this is something that prosecutors do every single day because here's the reality. Michael Cohen has some problems, but he's not even close to the worst when in that giant spectrum of cooperating witnesses that prosecutors use. Cooperating witnesses can really run the gamut. They can be awful people. I've had them brought in shackles and prison garb to testify. So it gives you an idea. These are people that are drug dealers. Sometimes they're killers. Sometimes they're people who use guns. And prosecutors use them all the time. You know why? Because they work. They work devastatingly well. And for that reason, I think juries are willing to see someone that this is somebody who has flaws. He's owning up to it, but he apparently was an insider with the defendant, so he's to be believed. And, of course, the defense's argument since time immemorial has been he's a liar. Would you trust him with any of your own personal transactions? Then why would you believe him here? I'm doing the classic defense spiel. How am I doing? Sounds pretty familiar.
Well,
yeah.
It kind of sounds like that's what Hoffinger's doing already, even though she's for the prosecution, and she continues to ask him about his lies. She says, why did you make those false statements to Congress? Cohen, because I was staying on Trump's message, and there was no Russia, 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 and that was what was preferred. Hoffinger, did you continue to lie about Mr. Trump's involvement in the Stormy Daniels payoff and pressure Karen McDougal to lie about the payoffs to her? Cohen, yes. Hoffinger, did you continue to pressure other people, for example, like Keith Davidson, to lie about the payoffs to Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels? Cohen, yes. Hoffinger, why did you do that? Cohen, in order to protect Mr. Trump.
So as Danny was saying, you have to own it. You have to own all the flaws in your witness, and you do what we call drawing the sting. Right? You don't want the jury to think you're hiding anything about the witness from them. So on direct examination, you elicit from your witness all the lies they've told in the past, all the crimes that they've committed, right? All the bias that they harbor against the person against whom they're offering testimony, because you want to be upfront with the jury. This person has given very incriminating testimony on direct examination against Donald Trump, and now we're in the section of the direct examination where the prosecutor is eliciting all the reasons why his credibility may be in question. And if Cohen comes through this section looking like he's not running away from what he's done in the past, if he owns it, then when, again, the defense goes into this in cross-examination, it doesn't look like Cohen or the prosecutor were trying to hide any of it.